And feet flat on the floor. Can really feel the soles of the feet on the floor, making contact with the floor. This is the earth that holds us up. Your knees are hips width apart, shoulders are aligned with the hips. And imagine your spine is a string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. So just lengthen your spine. Put some space in between those vertebrae. Really check your shoulders are over your hips, sitting on top of your sits bones. And now with your ears, just imagine you're kind of like got these Spock ears and someone's kind of lengthening your neck and then just very gently gliding your head back in line with the shoulders. So this may not be available to everyone. Just even imagine it. So here what we're trying to do is reduce the load of the weight of the head on the neck and shoulders by bringing it in line. Head's very heavy. The further forward your head is, the more it's pulling you out of alignment, the more it's changing your posture. So try and be aligned as much as possible for as long as possible. I'm talking about in terms of years and age. So nice, a little bit of length in the back of the neck. Relax the scalp, the forehead, the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, the temples, the ears, back of the head, the neck, the shoulders, and just relax your throat and your chest and the belly and all of your limbs. Take a nice deep breath. And notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And then be aware of any sounds in your environment. So just allow those sounds to be there, trying not to follow with the mind. And then notice the thoughts that are arising. And just be aware of how you are responding to the thoughts that are arising in your mind. Try not to judge or criticize or even allow yourself to get distracted. So just take a step back and observe. And then just put ourselves on the bank of the river and just watch that river flow on by. And just know that while you're on the bank, you're free from the river. So bring to mind all those people of your life, the loved ones, the ones who have great meaning for you in your life. Then there's those we don't like so much, and then there's our strangers. And just be aware that they can change place at any time, these relationships. And they're all happy. They're all, sorry, I did this last night too. They're all the same in their wish to be happy and their wish to be free from suffering and having this extraordinary capacity for Buddhahood. Yes, even the ones we don't like. So there is no negativity that we cannot purify. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. We create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change that by creating positivity instead. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm a living being on this day, in this life, in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. We cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience, and we know from our present suffering we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. And this first little section is on refuge, and there's another one on developing compassion. So we need the reliance. Those two topics come under this heading of reliance. So first of all, we're relying upon the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, Buddha Vajrasattva, and he has methods that we can use to purify. And we're not needing anybody to come along and forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light and sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. Has a radiant, a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up on a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom, and the right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents a union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So then there's this little bit about developing compassion. So in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings. So these are who we are relying on. The other beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, but developing a wish for them to be free from suffering. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we've ever harmed since beginningless time. And then think about those people who have harmed you and have compassion for them because they're going to suffer as a result of the harm that they've done to you. So make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these beings, and think I must purify for their sake. So then we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine, doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart. And it arcs around, it enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it pours into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you've ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manipalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Me Boa Sutokaya Me Boa Supokaya Me Boa Anarakta Me Boa Sawa Siddhi Me Piyata Sawa Kama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutukaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutukaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sutukaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of the body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So just imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra. Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasafa Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mebawa Sitokaya Mebawa Sipokaya Mebawa Anarakta Mebawa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dido me boa, sitokaya me boa, sipokaya me boa, anorakta me boa, sawasidi me piyata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan, sawatata gata vajrama me mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe, ambhadrasafa samaya manupalaya, vajrasafa dina patita, dido me boa, sitokaya me boa, sipokaya me boa, anorakta me boa, sawasidi me piyata sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Mimutsa Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe. So feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything but benefit others now with your speech. And the next is the purification of the mind. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills you entirely. So in a similar way, when you walk into a room that's pitch black and it's dark, you flick on the switch, the light instantly comes and dispels the darkness. So you just imagine the same thing here, that it's an instant lighting up. So instant dispelling of all the negativity of the mind. So all of the attachment and neediness and anger and depression and resentment and jealousy and bitterness and grudges, all instantly dispelled, not one atom left. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajrama Mimutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sata Ah Hum Pe Am Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dida Meboa Sitokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajrama mimutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe ambhadrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ha ho bhagavan Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan. Sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita dida meboa sitokaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha ho bhagavan, sawatata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata a hum pe, vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita, dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, anarakta meboa, sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sita me, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ah Hum He. So just be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So now is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And this time imagine that Vajrasattva very happily sends light and nectar. It fills you completely and eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy. Om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Dida meboa, sitokaya meboa, sipokaya meboa, Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe. And vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe. And vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa sidi me piyatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe. And vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe. And vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe. And vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe. And vajrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita. Dida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramami mutsa vajrabala mahasamaya sata aham pe. So now feel completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. And this is the fourth and final step of the purification process, and a really crucial one. And this is the determination to not harm with our body and our speech and our mind. So in the text, it says never again. But that's sometimes can be a bit of a tall order. It's sort of a little bit overwhelming. So we just start with something that we can do. And first, rejoice in your efforts. And then think of something that you'd like to work on. Maybe set your phone a timer. So at a certain time of day, you'll just sit down and meditate and think about something for even just 30 seconds. So what's important is the consistency of that, not necessarily the amount of time. So it's really the quality of the focus and the consistency of the action that is going to help you bring results. So for those of you who are coming, night after night, or even just regularly, a few times a week, it's that consistency that is very, very helpful, because it builds the energy of the mantra, builds in your mind stream. The practice builds in your mind stream. The Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So just a little bit on emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma, and there is no negative karma created. So just place your mind as much as you can, or as much as you understand, in this state of emptiness for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created by doing this practice to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. And then let's dedicate for Lorraine to get a fantastic job, if she's not totally bored dealing with criminals. Okay. So make a strong dedication for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for any of your own individual teachers. Okay, everybody. Lots of love. Thank you so much for hosting, Shayla and Michael.